Football, football, football. The
Football.
average football enjoyers are back. It's been a couple years, fellas, minus Rob tonight. So unfortunately, on the injury report, he was, supposed to be inactive, but a late inactive on game day, just a couple hours before kickoff. Has some plans come up, and unfortunately, will be switching to doubtful. There is a chance that he could call in, maybe. This has been the Rob special throughout the years, a little call in, but unfortunate start on the injury report for our friend Rob. Otherwise, the boys are back. It's me, Jason. We've got Dan over there. We got Jacob. We got Reese. We got Matt. We are the average football enjoyers, and we're going to talk some football. Dustin in the chat says, what's up? So I'm going to throw it to you, Dan. What's up?
Nothing much, dude. It's crazy. I was listening to the old stuff that we did, the episode that you sent in the chat, and man, those were some good times. So we're good to be back.
Yeah, it's really cool. Jacob even calling in from our sponsor of today's show, Rocky Mountain Pizza, not in the Rocky Mountains, in Atlanta.
I have a beer and I'm sitting in the parking lot. It's really great place to have a beer. I would take this over a shower beer or an airport beer, personally.
The parking lot beer?
Yeah, the parking lot beer. It's honestly not a bad beer because unless it's you're just down on your luck and you're in a gas station parking lot. Like parking lot beers are usually associated with like going into concerts, going into games, going into something's good. Like good things happen in parking lots when you're drinking, unless you're driving.
I feel like you're also having a rare parking lot beer where you're not in your car. Like I feel like that's normally the case when you're trying to pound one of those parking lot beers. Is you're in your car.
Yeah, luckily I'm not gonna have to drive for about an hour and a half or so I'll be okay. I'm probably gonna get another one halfway through, trying to hand signal to the server that, hey, can you bring me a beer to the parking lot?
Yeah. $2.50 Miller Lights Wednesday nights at Rocky Mountain Pizza in Atlanta. $2.50.
It's every night. It's every night.
Every night.
It's every night.
Every night. Great deal. Matt, how you doing, man? Welcome back.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's good. Can't believe it's been like 2 years since we had our last episode. We kind of just like fell off the face of the earth. But I was watching some stuff from way back when, so it's good to be back.
It is. I feel like last time we were on, we were questioning if Tom Brady even cared about his kids.
Yeah.
Move aside, Oasis. This is the biggest reunion this month.
It is. It's a big
Seriously.
one. It is a huge one. And Reese in the Blur room. How you doing?
What's up? Yeah, I've always liked Blur over Oasis, so I had to go
That's not filtered. His room just looks like that.
Yeah, my whole life is just blurry because I just love Blur so much. It is crazy that we didn't do any episodes last season. I definitely thought we did, but then, like you said, I looked at the podcast on Spotify and I was like, oh, 2022 season. Like, okay. Yeah. So we just skipped the whole year. Now we're here.
Yeah.
We were grieving because of the DeMar Hamlin situation. So we took the year off and we were like, oh, we'll come back when he's a starter again. And sure enough, he's a starter tomorrow or on Sunday. He'll be starting for the Bills again.
Wait, he is? I did not know that.
Yeah, he's listed as the starting safety.
The Bills are hurting for defensive depth, to say the least.
Did you say defensive death?
Depth.
Or
depth. He's
defensive depth.
Bad joke.
Jesus, man.
Oh, no.
We're back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
As a Cardinals fan and Marvin Harrison fantasy owner, that's good news to see.
So we are back, and speaking of back, fellas, Reese will be right back. He's throwing a pizza in the oven.
As one does.
But we are just going to throw some predictions out there today into the ether. We'll see what happens. Could be clippable, could be not. Could be good predictions, could not be. But either way, we're going to do it, and we are going to start. We are on the reunion tour. We're starting with comebacks. The comeback player of the year. Lots of players injured. Lots of players away from football. So we're going to try to predict the comeback player of the year. Jacob, I feel like you got a good answer here. What are you thinking here?
Ordering a beer from the parking lot. Sorry. Okay, well, the actual answer, I mean, the most logical answer is just going to be the betting favorite, which is Rodgers, just because I think he's the best talent of players who are in a reasonable spot to win it. And, I think he should come back from this injury pretty well. I mean, he's been out for a year, plenty of time to rest up. And he has a really good receiver in Garrett Wilson. So that's my logical pick. My homer pick, of course, is going to be Kyler, just because I think because of how bad the defense is on the Cardinals and him having Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride and, and Michael Wilson, who I like a good bit, and probably the best offensive line since Carson Palmer was on the team. He's going to have to be throwing a lot. He's going to have to be scoring points a lot, and he's going to have to be making up for his bad defense. So my ballsy pick is Kyler.
Nice. I like that. I think he kind of counts. He played last year, but was definitely shortened. And I feel like the NFL kind of keeps blurring what they even mean by comeback player of the year, especially with Joe Flacco winning the damn thing. So
yeah,
like it is what it is. Dan, what are you thinking here for this award?
I'm thinking for this award, I'm just going to be straight biased with this one. I'm going to say Nick Chubb, because injured week 2 last year. He's currently still on the PUP list. He that injury, I think, was also the most like on camera, just like the most disgusting. So I think that, comeback player of the year, it's kind of like the one that just is like, it's more of a storyline award than anything. So, with Aaron Rodgers, I think that could end up happening, but I think Aaron Rodgers is just so much like disliked by people, like that just no one's going to care if he's good. So I'll say Nick Chubb, assuming that he comes back and actually plays reasonably well, just given how like horrific that injury was.
Do you think when Nick Chubb comes back that it's just over for Jerome Ford? Like they just give him the rock?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, Jerome Ford's honestly not that great. Like I think he led the league in tackles for nothing or tackles for loss, like the most amount of runs that just went nowhere. But he also would just randomly, like he was boom or bust. Like he would rip out like a crazy run or he would do nothing. And I think that, just having Chubb to have like a reliable like 3 yards on a run, I think that they're just definitely going to use that over him.
Yeah, I pull up the player profiler. Jerome Ford was 35th in yards per touch, so not even in the top 32. Despite that's evidently pretty indicative. Matt, when you look, Matt, what are you thinking for comeback player of the year? I see that Falcon shirt. I hope you have the same answer.
I'm gonna go with Kirk.
Yeah,
I think he's primed to have a good season. He's got a really good team with a bunch of weapons. Oh my gosh, my camera keeps turning off. I think any of those guys y'all have said could have a chance, but I think Kirk, it's like if he doesn't win it, like he's probably gonna have a bad season. But I think he's gonna have a good season, so I think Kirk can win it after coming back from the Achilles. But Rodgers is probably the favorite right now. But like you said, so many people hate him, so we'll see where it goes.
And Kirk doesn't play in a particularly good division either. So that's 6 games right there on, outside of maybe the Bucks, who are playoff caliber.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm feeling the Kirk Cousins too. It's just it like you said, if he doesn't win this award, something has gone wrong to me because everything is lined up for this Falcons offense to kind of just go bananas this year. And a big part of that should be Kirk Cousins making his return from the Achilles. Reese, come back from the pizza. Who's your comeback player?
So I originally put Rodgers, but I think Jacob just sold me on Kirk. I didn't consider the fact that like he pretty much has 6 games that will be against terrible defenses, and he plays every home game in a dome. Which he's pretty good in a dome. And they have the easiest schedule of any team in the NFL. I think they only play like 3 playoff games from last season. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a super easy schedule. Rodgers has got to play Miami twice and Buffalo twice. That's going to be really difficult. Even playing New England's defense, I know it's not like loaded, but it's going to be coached by Gerard Mayo, which should be decent. So I think I'm going to switch from Rodgers to Kirk, and I would love to see like a crazy Kyler Murray season, but I don't know if he would even qualify because he played the last 8 games of last season. So I don't know if he would consider it a comeback because he came back last year, but if he were to have like an MVP caliber season, I could see like him not winning
I think
MVP but winning comeback.
I think he'll qualify because he only played half of the season, and he looked decent. So especially this being his first full season with like the new coach, the new GM, and everything. No Burrow pick.
Yeah,
No Joe Burrow pick.
Oh yeah, that's
he was third in the odds.
Hey, he's got to get his receiver first. So
I totally forgot about Joe Burrow. Holy
Yeah, I
shit.
didn't even really think about that one. It's like the Bengals didn't even miss him, right? Jake Browning went electric at the end of the year.
Who was it? Was it Beathard who took over for Trevor Lawrence in the game against the Bengals when Trevor went down?
Yeah.
The Beathard Browning Bowl. Oh, that sucked, dude. That could have been such a good game.
That's how football goes. I'm so excited for the backup quarterback matchups we're going to get in like week 13. I say that now. We'll see how I actually feel when we get there. So those are some fun picks.
Yeah,
for
we'll
the
come like
comeback
one
player.
on Thanksgiving Day, and you'll be like, I wish I would have never said that.
Hendon Hooker. For the
Jacoby Brissett.
Hey, Jacoby Brissett's a starter now.
He is. Well,
Oh, he is. That's right.
he's like a sacrificial
he's
lamb.
a sacrificial lamb for sure.
Dude, he's gonna get his fucking kneecap like blown the fuck out like week
Yeah.
1.
Who did the Redskins sign? Washington. Who did Washington sign? Because I knew they signed a veteran backup. Who was that?
Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Wait,
'Cause
where did Heineke get traded to? He just got traded.
Chargers.
Rams?
Chargers.
Chargers. Los
Chargers.
Angeles.
Okay. I was thinking Commanders.
Yeah. If he went back to
Pretty sure the Commanders have
I'm
a
getting
third veteran.
bottle service in the parking lot, boys.
Hell yeah.
Cheers, brother.
I'm pretty sure the Commanders have a third, like half decent quarterback.
They don't have Sam Howell. He's gone. He's in Seattle.
Yeah. He's in Seattle. now.
No, but they have another one. I thought.
Dude, I just know that Sam Howell, when the Cardinals play in Seattle, Gino's gonna get hurt. Sam Howell's gonna come out and he's gonna fucking light up the defense, and he's gonna throw for like 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. I've seen it too many times with the Cardinals.
I like that. I've been thinking that like in my gut. Like why? What like the Seahawks went out and traded for Sam Howell for a reason. I think they have a whole new coaching staff. Like, are they really that committed to Geno Smith? Like, really?
I think teams get scared when, especially last year, when so many quarterbacks got injured. You don't want to be in the position, week 5, and you're scrambling to find a replacement, and your team looks good. And morale as well. You want somebody to come in and who can make a decent wild card push. And you certainly don't want to be in that position after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
It definitely makes sense to kind of shore up your quarterback room. The Falcons thought so much they used their 8 pick on a backup, so it definitely means something.
Sad, but
Now,
Cardinals use Rondale Moore to get a guy who's not on the roster anymore.
and Rondo Moore is not technically on the Falcons roster anymore.
Dog shit trade, both sides.
That is the least consequential, the most inconsequential. The most inconsequential trade ever.
Yep.
Trading Marcus Ritter for Rondale Moore. Nothing came out of that.
I'm surprised they just didn't get Huntley. Clayton Tune is bad.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
Apparently,
There's nothing I love more than like a lose-lose trade where it's just like both teams want to just want to shoot themselves.
It's just a nothing. I don't even know if it's classified. It's literally just a big fat nothing.
I love player
trades
for
of all
player
time.
trades. Yeah, one of the trades.
So that was our comeback player kind of predictions there. Rob asked us to throw something into the show sheet and then didn't make it. This is the last chance player. So who's a player that this is their last chance. This is their season to prove that they belong on the NFL field. We'll go backwards this time. Reese, what you thinking?
I have a couple of guys that probably aren't really good picks for this, but they're personal picks because I've had shares of them in fantasy for the last 2 to 3 years, and I'm going to give up on them officially this year if they don't do well. Number one would obviously be Kyle Pitts. I've traded for him. I gave away like half my entire dynasty roster for him, including a first rounder. He hasn't really done much for me. I'm a Falcons fan. I'm a homer, so obviously that plays a part. But Kyle Pitts is number one for me, and then number two, I had Jerry Jeudy because another personal pick. I bought a very nice PSA graded Jerry Jeudy card, and was supposed to sell it on for a nice profit once he blew up in the NFL. And unfortunately, despite the fact that he just made a good bit of money with Cleveland, he still hasn't really blown up yet. And the card is worth about what I paid for it 3 years ago. So I'm gonna sell it if he doesn't have a good year. I'm just gonna cut my losses. I'm tired of waiting on him, and I would like to at least recuperate some of that. And then lastly is Najee Harris because I like Najee Harris and I think he's a really good player. But he's 26 years old, and that's the year where running backs production starts to jump off a cliff. And I feel like this is kind of one of those years where he can either prove that he's, better than Father Time and he can last longer like a Saquon or something like that, or he can prove that, his production is just going to shoot down. I mean, his production has gotten worse over the 3 seasons that he's played in. Like, he had the most yardage when he was a rookie and the most touchdowns when he was a rookie, and then he had the same amount of touchdowns the second year and less yardage, and then last year obviously he had the least amount of touchdowns, least amount of yardage. So this is one of those years where it's like, okay, are you an elite running back or are you just kind of a running back? So those are mine.
Yeah, I mean, Najee Harris in particular, he's on the last year of his contract. The Steelers decided not to pick up his 5th-year option. I'm assuming with Arthur Smith.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm assuming with Arthur Smith now in town, they're literally going to run him into the ground. And given he's been relatively durable throughout his career and had
he's never missed a game.
Volume, he's literally never missed a game. And
never missed a game.
I do think that while that's a plus, I also think that NFL teams on an open market would probably be a little dissuaded by that. I know it seems a little counterintuitive there, but at some point, I feel like it's going to catch up to him.
The downfall of Najee Harris needs to be studied because remember his rookie season when he was like actually like good, like I forget what his exact stats were, but he was like, I think it was definitely over 1,000 yards. Like he was a monster that rookie season and then just completely disappeared.
Well, and
he
it's
had like
funny
1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Like, it was a great season.
It's interesting,
especially as a rookie,
because like he's still good. Really, like he's had 1,000 rush yards all 3 years, but it just doesn't seem right. He's had less carries every single year, less rush yards every single year. And his rookie season, to your point, was Ben Roethlisberger's last season. So it's actually, I just looked, he caught 74 passes that year, Dan. 74 passes out of the backfield and 29 last year, which I think is definitely gonna kind of throw that into our head in terms of
Wait, who was quarterback in the year he caught 74?
Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, because he was just so bad. He had no arm. He just threw it to
Ben went out gracefully. He Biden'd it. He went out gracefully.
He really, really did. So those are some good picks, Reese. I see that Matt also is Kyle Pitts. So what kind of leads you to the Kyle Pitts?
Just I think what Reese said. It's just like his last chance. He's other than his rookie season, he's been on a decline, which is for where he was picked, like how much talent he has, it just doesn't make sense, right? They did pick up his 5th year, right?
Yes.
So that tells me that, they believe in him, and I think he's going to have a good season. But more, I think now that I'm thinking about it, on the other side of the ball for the Falcons, I think it's AJ Terrell. So this dude just got paid a huge contract, and he hasn't had an interception since 2021. So I know this won't be his last year with the Falcons with his contract for now, but he's got to pick it up because I mean, if he's gonna be paid as one of the top five cornerbacks, he's got to do something because the last couple of years he's been cooked.
Hey, what? Oh, go ahead and finish, Matt. Sorry.
And one last thing, I'll throw in Zach Wilson in there because like this is like second team after being a first round pick. And I feel like he's not gonna. I don't know if he's gonna play much. We'll see how Bo Nix does, but like I think this is his last chance to get a starting job. We'll see. So
yeah, I think the end is pretty much there for Zach Wilson, but I understand holding out a little bit of hope, just a little bit, just to kind of see what happens. And I was surprised to see that AJ Terrell contract for sure. Best ball on call in the chat feels that Chig Okonkwo from Tennessee is one of these players. I'll say this about him, he's still on his rookie contract, so you got to kind of give a little bit of time to tight ends. But I do kind of agree this Tennessee Titans offense is going to be passing the ball a lot this year, and there's no other tight ends really on this depth chart. So you should expect some sort of production from him. So I'd like to see it. Yeah. Any thoughts on Chig, Mr. Chig?
Nope.
What's this trade scenario? Jamar Hubbard.
Oh, this one? Yeah, from Antonio down here. So it sounds like giving up Jamar Chase, Chuba Hubbard, and Romeo Doubs for Kenneth Walker, Puka Nacua, and George Pickens.
Well, if it's a PPR, if it's
this
a
is tough for me.
PPR.
Is this dynasty or redraft?
Yeah, this is Antonio. Is this dynasty or redraft? Because in redraft, I'm doing this. I definitely just want to have all three of those studs: Kenneth Walker, Puka Nacua, George Pickens on my team. But in dynasty, I just have such a hard time trading Jamar Chase.
And which way is this going? I assume.
So this is redraft. I don't know if it matters which way it's going. I guess just which side.
I would get if you have a chance to get rid of Hubbard, it's gonna hurt you in the short term. But when Brooks comes back, I mean, I think Hubbard's going to be a non-factor. So,
I'm with you there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that Hubbard's going to be huge at the beginning of the year.
And also, who knows what Burrow's going to look like? I'm sure he's going to be great, but that is something to take into account. He's coming off an injury,
and it's also like the whole Jamar situation. Like, what are you guys thinking on that? You think he's going to hold out? I think
no. He returned today. He returned to practice today.
Did he get a new contract?
That is not no.
Okay.
No, but he is back at practice, wearing the pads.
Did he participate?
The balls.
Okay.
Okay. To answer your question, Antonio, if you're the one receiving Puka, then I would do that.
Yeah, I mean those are three. I mean, all three of those players are incredible. We'll talk about Kenneth Walker a little later in the show. That's a player that I'm really fond of this season. Jacob, I'm going to ask you this: who's your last chance player?
Yeah, so I'm trying to stay away from picking a backup because I mean, I don't know if you consider that a chance. Whether you're looking camp or not, because my answer there would be Mac Jones. I'll take the other Jones, though. I mean, this is absolutely Daniel Jones's last chance at being a starting.
Yes,
this is absolutely look, dude. We went out of our way, and we took a great prospect and Malik Neighbors to make you good. You're not in a perfect offense. You don't have a perfect offensive line. We know your flaws.
Yep.
You should know your flaws that you fumble. If you can't even, be a respectable, let's say, I don't know, 3,500 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. If you can't do that, buddy, it's over. It is over.
Maybe in Daniel Jones' case, we could just say 3,500 total yards just to let him have some rush.
Yeah.
But
around that ballpark, just like a respectable starter. No one's expecting you to win the division. I think Eagles and Cowboys, you can make the case that they're both Super Bowl eligible teams.
Yeah.
and especially with like Daniels in the division, but you have to at the very least prove your worth. I don't think he's going to be on the team next year, just given, especially if Daniels takes off, the quarterback quality in that division. But I think his head should be more at, this is a tryout team for whoever needs the quarterback next year. If Stafford retires, are the Rams going to need a quarterback? If Rodgers retires, are the Jets going to need a quarterback? It's like almost a tryout at this point. So it's not as I think it's already written that he's not going to be the starting quarterback to the Giants next season. But it definitely is your last chance to make your case as a starting quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. Did you see the Hard Knocks thing? When on the new episode, I guess maybe today. I think it comes out today. I saw a clip from it.
I don't watch Hard Knocks. I haven't watched any Hard Knocks or in season things since the Cardinals were on the Amazon Prime All or Nothing. I watched it with my dad, and it was the season they lost in the NFC Championship. And we got to the last episode, and it was titled like NFC Championship, and we're like, we know what happens here. Like, I'm not gonna watch this, dude. I don't really like the training
I
camp
asked
shows personally.
because no, it's fair. It was just there's a clip going around right now. Brian Poles, the GM for the Bears, went to the UGA Clemson game, and Joe Schoen, the GM for the Giants, was there and basically said he's there to scout quarterbacks. Like, the Giants are done.
You shouldn't say that. I know, like, I'm especially with quarterbacks. I really think you need to be tight-lipped. I really think, like, people like on the Cardinals thing, when there were rumors that they were going to take Kyler, there's that quote that says Josh is our guy from Cliff Kingsbury. People joke about it, and it's funny in hindsight, but that's the kind of stuff you need to say. If at the time he's your number one on your depth chart, you need to go full send confidence on it, and you can't doubt him one bit until you make that move. So I'm never a fan of that stuff.
I agree. Joe Schoen, because they did the Giants kind of early off season too. They followed him, and he looked terrible in that thing. Dan,
they didn't show that conversation in Hard Knocks, did they?
It was on Hard Knocks. It was.
No.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It was
Dude,
like he was talking to Poles, and he was like, what he said was, "You're lucky you don't have to scout quarterback anymore."
Oh my!
What?
God. Oh man, that is tough.
So rest in peace, Daniel Jones is all.
Dude, bro, your team is on Hard Knocks. Everybody on the team is probably going to watch it. You should assume that. Like, everybody that works in your organization is going to hear everything you say on Hard Knocks.
And it's all mental too, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. It's not like you're trying to motivate a running back, like run harder, or like a linebacker, hit harder. It's like being a quarterback in the NFL is mostly like mental. Yeah, like that doesn't work. It doesn't fly.
Yeah,
this is true. Dan, who's on their last leg here? Who we got?
So actually, I'm surprised no one said this, because I feel like this is the obvious layup answer. Maybe not last chance as in won't be in the league, but last chance to actually prove that like you can still play. I would say is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yes.
I mean, this is a man who, I'm a Browns fan. This is a man who we traded 3 first-round picks, gave a fully guaranteed contract, and he's only played 11 games in like 4 years or something like that. And so, while I do believe that I think that he has played better than a lot of people portray as, he's still like maybe has only been at like a top 18 level quarterback in those 11 games. And it's like, this is a man who's supposed to be like, at one point he was like a top 5, like people were putting him in the top 5. And then obviously all the allegations and whatnot happens. And so you're really in a situation where it's like people are legitimately questioning, like, can you even still like be in this like league as a starter and be worth like another contract after this? Because he's going to be like over 30 after his contract's done, and I think he's got 1 or 2 more seasons after this one. And so Deshaun Watson, I think, is the obvious answer here. And so I for my team's sake, I'm hoping that he can return to form, but like, nothing that he's shown has really has been. So he's got to improve a lot if he's going to stay in the league.
this contract for Deshaun Watson is just so.
Hey, it's out of the top 10 now. It's out of the top 10.
They restructured it. They
Yeah.
did restructure it recently. So his base salary this year is only $1 million. But next year goes up. The next 2 years, the base salary is $46 million, and he'll be carrying a $260 million dead cap over the
And the
next.
Falcons wanted that, bro.
Yeah, do you guys remember that article came out? Like the Falcons owner was mad that that Deshaun didn't let them match the fully guaranteed contract like that.
Crazy.
And then there's at the same time it was pretty borderline collusion between the owners where the Falcons were like, yeah, but we're not going to go after Lamar. We're not going to try for Lamar.
That was crazy.
I'm shocked nothing came of that. That was blatant collusion.
No,
101.
Didn't we lose like a conditional pick for that?
That was
that was for Kirk. But when Lamar, all they had to do was match the offer, which you're going to have to do if you trade for Lamar anyway, pretty much, if you want him to sign with you for free. It's basically like he's a free agent, and you're not doing it. Like, that was collusion 101. I'm just shocked.
I think, wasn't it when you match, they had to give up like 2 first-round picks for it too, or something like that?
It was, yeah, I think it was at least 1 first-round pick.
Oh, it is a first-round pick. But it's irrelevant because it's the most important position in the league. He's the MVP. He's easily a top 3 quarterback. I just cannot I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the league doesn't want to piss off the owners. Maybe that's it.
And it's a star player too. You can't have too many crazy things going on with that one. I love this Deshaun Watson take. I think even like they brought Jameis Winston in for a reason, and I know that Jameis Winston's not the best quarterback in the world, but neither was Joe Flacco. And it seems like all they need is just someone back there who's not afraid to just throw that damn thing. And to me, Deshaun Watson seems washed mentally. Obviously everything off the field kind of plays into it there, but he just seems like his head's not in the game.
I think you're spot. Yeah, I think you're spot on with that because it's weird when I don't know how much you've like watched him play last season, but it's like he like still will make like amazing throws and then just like float one, like he's not even like paying attention. Like it's really weird to watch him play because I think that you mentally. You're absolutely right. Like he was basically at the height of the Deshaun Watson controversy. Like that was like a crazy amount. Like he was having New York Times articles written about him and whatever. Yeah. So I mean, he brought it on himself. But he that's got to be like fuck with anyone like emotionally.
For sure.
There's a message in the chat again that says Zeke too.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, it is.
Back in Dallas, there's not much RB competition. It's a big season for him.
But to be fair, I mean, like
he's on his way.
Backs, running backs have such a short shelf life, and I get that like players like Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson produce late in their career, but like I think if Zeke didn't work out this season, it's a respectful bow out. It's you take your flowers and you leave, and it's respectful. Same, if that happens to James Conner this season, I'm totally fine with it too. Running backs are just a different. You got to talk about them differently.
Yeah, I mean Zeke gets clowned on, or rather, the Cowboys get clowned on for that contract. But honestly, like prime Zeke was an absolute weapon. Like at his peak, he was just an absolute destroyer.
Did you guys know that Ezekiel Elliott led the New England Patriots in receptions last year?
That's not true.
It is true.
That's not true.
It is not true.
That is not true, dude.
It is true because Ramondre Stevenson got hurt, so he was the bell cow there.
Dude, it's not even the fact that it's not Ramondre. It's not even that. It's the fact that it's not a wide receiver or a tight end.
Didn't Devontae Parker retire?
Devontae Parker retired. Demario Douglas was the rookie, so he didn't start until late. Kendrick Bourne got hurt. Tyquan Thornton isn't good at football.
Dude, talk about bowing out respectfully. Bill Belichick, they are talking about changing the rules now. to where you only have to be out of the league for 1 year as a coach to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Just for him, it's just a dude bow out respect. Again, he's getting Bidened basically. Just step out, take your flowers, get put in the Hall of Fame, and do this respectfully.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I'm happy for it, Bill Belichick, and I'm excited to see him on the Pat McAfee show. And he's like doing a show for Underdog Fantasy.
I hate Pat, dude. I hate Pat.
I like Bill Belichick. I just like Bill Belichick. I think
like
he's a
Pat.
fun personality.
There was a
Wrestling fan,
summer.
listening to Pat and WWE is tough. It is very tough.
There was a
Damn.
summer where I could listen to Pat, like I listened to Pat McAfee a lot, and then you like listen to him for like a couple months, and you're like, oh, like the stick never changes.
Yeah, I was stuck in a
It's
hotel room,
too much.
and that was the only thing I could watch. And it was like I watched one episode before I was like, okay, I think
Yeah.
I'm good on the Pat McAfee show for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So,
Dude got shade though, respect.
he
What,
did.
Yeah.
what's up? So I still don't understand what this player flag plant is.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. I will say my last chance player, real quick. It's Justin Fields. I think that Russell
right.
Wilson is going to get benched pretty quickly, and Justin Fields is going to have the Steelers. He's going to have a good offensive coordinator, a team that always makes the playoffs with a good defense, got good enough weapons, decent enough offensive line. Hopefully, he can get it done. We'll see. I think he'll at least be good for our fantasy teams with his rushing, but last chance to prove he can be an NFL quarterback for sure. It was a 1-year rental. And I mean, he was traded for literally nothing, literally a bag of peanuts. So
What if they made him a Taysom Hill, but for running for?
so that's what I
Oh
think.
man, that'd be so funny.
That's what it's looking like it'll be while Russell Wilson is the starter, because they were talking about using him on special teams, and then they've been talking about that they might be using him like in like alongside Russell Wilson in the backfield, like Taysom Hill.
Who is it was Ricky Williams and who else for the Dolphins Wildcat formation?
Ronnie Brown, I think.
Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie Brown, yeah. What if they just like kind of like gave him like a little bit of a Ronnie Brown role?
I mean,
No.
hey, that would mean he failed as
Fuck
a
it, like
quarterback.
dude, like
you're talking
dude.
about Arthur Smith here. They're not
You
going to
already
have
know.
any sort of creative plays. We're talking about Arthur Smith. This is going to be a
No,
very
he's almost
basic
too
offense.
creative.
but
That's
like
the
why
thing.
not, dude? Why not? Like why not? Like
Almost
okay,
too creative.
dude, look who's in your. You got the Bengals and you got the Ravens and you got a good defense in the Browns. Well, like you're not winning the division with like just trotting out a traditional offense. Just say fuck it. Like worst
Yeah,
comes to worst,
I
you're
agree.
picking first, and that's
Yeah.
a good position to be in.
Yeah.
For
I love
Justin
the
Fields
comment.
is a good last chance player, but honestly, Russell Wilson probably fits that description too.
Yeah.
I think, he does. He does. I just, I think that it's basically he's rust.
Shout out Ricky
I'm-
Williams, and then you got the fire in the tree emoji.
The tree. Funny. So funny. This
Shout
guy
out Josh Gordon
all-
as well.
all is funny. Yeah, shout out Josh Gordon. He's in that same.
Shout out Josh Gordon as well.
Gosh,
All right, so this next segment, this is the flag plant section, and in the fantasy football space, this is what we call choosing a player that we want basically our name to be attached to. That we think that this player is going to do a lot better than people are expecting. That you're very confident
guy.
in them. You're planting your flag on them. They're
Yeah.
my guy, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Reese. So if you
Okay.
guys have one player to plant your flag on, you're the first person to step on the moon, essentially. This is your player. Dan, who you got?
Oh, I don't want to go first. I just learned what that's done.
Who you got?
I don't know.
I got one.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Yeah, give me Trey Benson.
Yes.
Whoa.
He's going
Whoa.
spicy.
Yes.
Yeah, give me Trey Benson. Again, I talked to you guys before this. The reason I drafted Trey Benson is because James Conner is almost guaranteed to just miss 3 games.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Shifty, smart, fast, decent hands. He just and again, this is the best offensive line the Cardinals have had in a very long time. The chance is there for this guy to really step out and be the best Cardinals breakout running back since David Johnson. Put the ball in his hands. It might not be this season, But if Connor does not get re-signed, then it will definitely be next season. But I'm feeling a little frisky in some fantasy leagues, so that's why I took him. So Trey Benson is my planned flag player.
Great pick.
Yeah,
I
like
have
that a lot.
to back you up there, Jacob.
Yeah, what you got, Reese?
So, as we all know, Player Profiler, very great source of data and information here.
Yeah.
His best comparable player is J.K. Dobbins with his 4.39 40-yard dash and his
Mm.
top 50th percentile college dominator, yards per catch, target share. His speed score is 98. He was drafted in the 3rd round, which is awesome these days as a running back. So I think Jacob's on to something there. Obviously, he's a Cardinals fan, so that's a bit of a homer take, but I don't care. That's good enough for me. I like that take a lot. And Jason,
Yeah.
I'm still mad at you for disrespect to Russell Wilson, by the way. I'm so disappointed that you don't believe in Russ.
Why? Why would I believe in Russ? Is that your flag plan?
Because
Are you
Mike
flag planning for
Tomlin-
Wilson?
No, absolutely not. But I'm a Mike Tomlin.
Absolutely not, he says.
No, I would never flag plant 35-year-old Russell Wilson. But Mike Tomlin can make a lot of pigs look beautiful with lipstick. So I think that you could see. This is on the list for later, but I've got an interesting hot take about the Steelers' win total this season. So I'm pretty high on them. I'm always high on them because Mike
Yeah,
Tomlin's
you
awesome.
gotta be. You gotta be. So stick
But
around.
my flag plant is the guy that killed me in the fantasy football championship last season, and it is a Green Bay Packers second-year receiver. I think second year,
Yeah.
maybe third year, second year. Jaden Reed. His profile is fantastic. I think his comp was like Emmanuel Sanders or something like that.
No, it's Stephon Diggs.
Oh, it's Diggs. That's right. Yeah, Stephon Diggs. He's got a great profile. He played really well last season, especially after the bye week. I think after the bye week, he kind of like just blew up. At least for a mid-level rookie receiver. I think he's going to have a great year. I tried my best to get him in as many leagues as I could get him in at a reasonable price, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to go Jaden Reed just because I admire him after he defeated me almost single-handedly in the championship last season.
Love that pick.
It was that Monday night game, or maybe it was a Sunday night game, and I was winning by like 40 points, and my opponent had Jordan Love and Jaden Reed. And sure enough, I lost the championship, and that was that. So, anyways, Jaden Reed.
Sorry to hear that. I'm a Christian Watson stan, so I can't put my stamp of approval on it. But once Christian Watson, breaks his hamstring again, then it'll be Jaden Reed's season. I'll go ahead and say mine. We'll keep the filibuster going for Matt and Dan, and I'm going with Kenneth Walker. I know that this is a bigger player than what has been mentioned, but I'm hearing a lot of kind of hate for Kenneth Walker. I think a lot of people are saying that Zach Charbonnet is going to kind of split the backfield with him, and I just don't.
That's crazy talk. Yeah, that's crazy talk.
When you're looking at running backs in the NFL, like Kenneth Walker is probably the best, like outside, like as like a pure like bell cow NFL type running back, maybe outside of Nick Chubb. But now Nick Chubb is old and injured. Like he's this generation's Nick Chubb essentially, and I'm expecting huge things from Kenneth Walker this season. We talked about the quarterback conundrum in Seattle already. I think that they're really going to heavily lean on this run game to kind of help out those quarterbacks. And I think Kenneth Walker is going to be at least top 5 in rushing this year. I'm expecting a huge season from him. He's a stud.
Isn't Seattle's offensive line still pretty bad?
Yeah, but I just something about Kenneth Walker to me, like
dude. You take Aaron Donald out of your division and beautiful things happen.
Yes. He doesn't have to play Aaron Donald twice a year. That's a fantastic point. And you've seen him. You're a Cardinals fan. You've seen Kenneth Walker. I feel like he always has 100 yards against the Cardinals.
Yeah, dude. I like it. Yeah. Some teams have done some beautiful things against the Cardinals.
Dan, Have you had
Yeah,
time?
that's funny that you picked a Seahawk because I was also going to pick a Seahawk. I'm going to pick Jackson Smith-Njigba. And he had a decent rookie season, about looking just under 700 yards. But I think he can become. This is a breakout year where we're going to start talking about JSN as a top slot receiver in the league. And I mean, I don't know if you guys watched much, but like the separation that he gets is like it's pretty consistent. I know he's not the number one target in that offense, but I think the sky is the limit for him. And yeah, so I'll say that this is his breakout / flag plant year.
I like that. Because Tyler Lockett's only getting older, and the
Correct.
Seahawks brought in a new offensive coordinator. And last year, that's kind of what was holding back JSN is they really only ran a lot of 2 wide receiver sets.
Yep.
I think that Ryan Grubbs in Washington ran a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, and that should put Jackson Smith-Njigba on the field. And then if Tyler Lockett, anything happens to him, he's good. He's good to go. And I mean, incredible at Ohio State, was last year's #1 rookie wide receiver. Great flag plant. I think that people have kind of forgotten about him. Like Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison are better. Come on.
Yeah.
Remember,
Jordan Addison, I do like Jordan Addison though.
yeah, and he seems to like mimosas a little too much. So we'll see what that leads
Don't we
to.
all? Don't we all?
Yeah, I can't believe that some players we just get so dependent on alcohol. I mean,
Hold on.
who would do that? Who would do that?
I just absolutely no clue.
There's bananas.
Can't they all just sit at the TV and just drink some beer?
See, I'm jealous. You guys have beer. I don't have any beer, so I had to like pull out this like 6-month-old sake.
Oh no.
Dude is just like straight pulling out like peasant wine from 14th century England. Time
Straight
to
from the
bust
bottle.
out the rubbing alcohol, boys.
Yeah.
Matt,
All right.
Matt, who's your flag plant?
For me, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor.
Mm.
I feel like the last couple of years he's really fallen off and people have forgotten about him. I know he's been hurt, but I mean, this dude rushed for like 1,800 yards 3 years ago or something like that.
Crazy, man.
Had like 20 total touchdowns maybe. But I think he's primed to have a good season. He's got a better quarterback. I feel like the team's better, and I feel like he's healthy. So I really am big on him this season. On maybe leading the league in rushing, if not, definitely like top 3. So
I like that. I like that. Are you at all worried about Anthony Richardson taking away like too many carries or whatever?
Maybe. I know he's going to run the ball. They want to run the ball with him more, but I mean, dude, they're not going to ignore Jonathan Taylor. I don't think. I mean, that guy's he's a weapon. He's a monster. So I feel like if they know it's good, they'll try to keep the wear and tear off of AR and just give the ball to your running back. So
I like that. That's a fun one because I mean, like he was like the darling of the NFL, and especially just the running back position in the NFL. But a couple seasons ago, he was the dude, and we've kind of all forgot about him. Injuries, quarterback changes, bad Colts teams. But yeah, I like that.
Did you guys? And I haven't fact checked this, but Anthony Richardson has only played 28 games since high school.
That
Really?
I mean, that
Dude,
wouldn't
hold on.
surprise me.
I read the same tweet and I thought it said 17.
No,
No, I
I think
mean,
I think the
Yes.
17 was bullshit, but 28
okay.
is true.
Still, 28 is
Okay, so-
crazy because Bo Nix was like in the 60s or something.
Yeah,
That's
There's a
best ball in the chat saying 17.
I saw that tweet. I think that guy was bullshitting.
Yeah, the 17 one might have been a play on the.
yeah.
the
He
original.
played so well. So here's
Oh,
the
wait.
deal.
I'm seeing a counter on this. If it's 17, that's indefensible.
I mean, because so
He's
here we
good
go.
though, man. He looks really good.
Whoa.
It
Okay.
depends.
FantasyData.com is sorry to do a competitor thing. Fantasy Data is telling me 17 has started.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Counter-
So I was gonna say,
There's a difference
profile-
between started and played. Okay, that's
Yeah.
the difference. So yes,
profile
played
has the-
28, started
Yeah.
17. That's inexcusable.
What does PP have it at?
Not even that many, actually. We have 3 games, 2020, 7 games, 2021, 12 in 2022. So that's what, 22, and then the 4 games this year, so 26.
Yeah, but how many of those did he? How many of those
Exactly.
did he? How many of those did he come in?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, no, 17 sounds about right. Which is, I mean,
He's lucky he's good, man. He's lucky
yeah,
he's good.
lucky he's good. He's lucky he's good. It is what it
He
is.
just,
We'll
he
see.
just
I
needs
mean,
to stay healthy.
The
Yeah.
best ability is availability.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how good you are. If you can't play, you can't play.
Yeah.
If you can't stay healthy, you can't stay healthy. So
This is true. It's interesting. It's interesting. The fantasy community loves Anthony Richardson for obvious reasons, but I do think the jury's definitely still out in terms of being an NFL quarterback and damn sure the longevity. That'll be a fun one to watch this season because that division, I mean, the Titans, the Texans, the Jaguars, the other teams, I mean, that's a fun division right now, that AFC South. So Anthony Richardson could be a big part of that. I hope so. I mean, we like entertainment here. We like it.
We do.
And it's always fun when the Colts are like somewhat decent. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
the Colts are just kind of a fun franchise.
Yeah, you don't want no one wants the Colts to win the Super Bowl, but I think we all kind of want them to be in the wild card.
I would take a Colts over Chiefs. You know, if they just upset in the playoffs, like that'd be fun.
I would take the Colts over most teams, like in terms of like who I would want to say.
Yeah,
It's
because
got
it's
a
like
lot of likability to them.
yeah, they're just like it's the Colts. Like they're in Indianapolis, they've got nothing else going on. Like let them have this.
It's like you ever like meet like a Texans fan and they're just like, oh, dude, I fucking hate the Titans. It's like, why? You hate the Tennessee Titans. Like when you see the Tennessee Titans, you're filled with rage. The camera cuts to Nissan Stadium and you're just.
I
Not-
hated Marcus Mariota.
Like why? Why did you have hate in your heart for this
Yeah.
team?
Dude, Will Levis, no, I fucking hate that guy. What do you mean?
So this is a fun one. Let's keep our take here short. Who's a sleeper team, right? Like we've got a player that we're planting our flag on, but what's a team that you think might be a little bit better than people are suggesting? I'll just go with the Raiders. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs or anything like that, but I think the Raiders are going to be one of those teams that if you're a fan of any team and you see you're matched up against the Raiders, you feel a little nervous. I think they're going to make like every game competitive. They're going to be a very scrappy football team. They'll probably scrape out like 7 to 8 wins, but I think they'll never have like more than like a 1-score loss. Like I think they're going to be right there in there, even against the Chiefs. Like I'm feeling some decent things from the Raiders this season. Dan, what's a team you're thinking of?
So I think I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I don't know if people are. Like, I'll go with the Commanders, and mainly this take is because I like Jaden Daniels. I think that he's a really fun player, and I think that what I've been thinking when I watch the Commanders over the past couple seasons is like they really just kind of need stability at quarterback. Like they just had dog shit quarterbacks. And they still have Terry McLaurin, right? So he is probably one of the players I think is like he's a true number 1 wide receiver who's just had shit throwing to him. And so I think that he's gonna prime for a good season. And I think that I think their defense is pretty good. I'm honestly not sure. Someone can correct me on that. But like if they can get their offense going, like they have their NFC, so they have like decently not as tough competition. And so I think that they could be primed to actually surprise a lot of people this season.
I like that. I mean, we saw RG3 in his rookie season take that team to the playoffs. And really kind of had that whole injury thing,
Mm-hmm.
But it can come out of nowhere with the right quarterback. So I think that's a really fun one. Cliff Kingsbury, bad head coach, as I'm sure Jacob could attest to, but I'm sure he'll be okay as a coordinator. Jacob, what you thinking?
Quick amendment on that. Kingsbury, I think the opposite of Kingsbury. He was a good head coach. He tried a lot. Players liked him, but he failed to adapt to changes. Like when Hopkins got injured, he failed to adapt to that.
Mhm.
Yeah, obviously, I'm going to say the Cardinals just because of Kyler. You know what? I'll say the Broncos because I think Bo Nix being made captain, I think is fairly important. I think Sean Payton's still a very good coach, even though I don't particularly love him as a person. He's playing in a division that has a lot of talent in it, and when you play teams a lot better than you, it definitely does build character. I'm not saying they're necessarily going to be a playoff team, but I think they're a team that will do better than people think. And also, why not the Bucks? People seem to forget that the Buccaneers, yes, they did scrape by and make the playoffs. But I really like Baker a lot. They beat the Eagles, who were by the end of the season, were a bottom 10 team in the NFL. But they gave the Lions a run for their money, and everybody has a Lions Super Bowl pick, Lions NFC Championship pick. But the Bucks were very close to beating them in the Lions Stadium. So I think my actual answer to this is going to be the Buccaneers.
Ooh, do you think that we may be too excited for the Falcons then? Do you think it's the Bucks just repeat again as the South champions?
I don't like to I don't like to make predictions on teams with new head coaches because I just do not know what it's going to look like. But I think Kirk's a very good start. I think they have a good receiving core. I think they have a lot of offensive talent, a lot of defensive talent. I don't know. I don't think either of them make the. I think the Bucks probably win the division again.
Ooh. Sad. Reese, how does that make you feel? And who's your sleeper team?
That hurts my heart, but honestly, if I wasn't a Falcons fan, I would probably be picking the Buccaneers too. They were just they were a steady Eddie team with not the greatest talent, and they have the same coaching staff, they have the same quarterback, they have a lot of the same players. It's going to be a good team. It's going to be a tough matchup for the Falcons. They always are. So I get it. It hurts, but I get it. I've got the Colts in this one too. I really like the Colts. I've always been like a secret admirer of the Colts. I think as long as Richardson plays,
like you're sending Jim Irsay notes.
Yeah.
Colts, will you be my GF?
They're like my AFC team, I guess you could say, as a Falcons fan. And then I love, for the same reason I would love to see the Colts do well, I've got the Cardinals too, because if the Cardinals and the Colts are good, that means that Kyler Murray and Anthony Richardson are playing really well. And that's fun. Like, I love watching Kyler Murray play. I loved what little bit of Anthony Richardson we got to see. I think those two teams being good would just be fun. So those are my picks. And I also, when I read that prompt, I just went and looked at Vegas odds for division winners, and I just limited my choice for this category to teams that were not in the top two for odds to win their division. So the Colts were last actually in that division, I think, and the Cardinals were obviously last. Sorry, Jacob. But those are my Colts and Cardinals.
Jason froze on us.
Oh no!
I'm back, guys. I think at least. So I'm assuming we got a good take from Reese on the Colts and their Vegas odds. That's where I cut out.
Hey, Jason's still frozen, right?
No, he's
No! Don't do that.
I ruined it.
Matt, who are you thinking for your sleeper?
I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Oh yeah.
I think if anything's going to change a team, it's going to be Harbaugh. So we'll see. I mean, they've been really disappointing since Herbert's been there. I feel like, especially with what kind of talent he has, and the teams they've had. I mean, they've had decent teams. So I feel like this season they should turn it around and figure it out. And I think, what was their old coach, Brandon Staley?
Yeah,
he was terrible. Such a bad coach. So, And Harbaugh, I mean, he's had success in the NFL. He's been in the Super Bowl. He won it all last year, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, I like that take. I think a lot of people are pretty down on the Chargers. Even Justin Herbert, I'm seeing, especially in the fantasy football space, a lot of hate going Justin Herbert's way. But I mean, been pretty damn good throughout his career so far. I believe he has the record for most passing yards in the first 4 seasons of any quarterback in NFL history.
Wow. That's
so
crazy.
I think that's a pretty solid bet. And I think that having that new head coach and even the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, he's had some sets at the NFL and in college as well. I think it should be a solid team. I like that pick. So, guys, we'll go from sleeper teams to the Super Bowl. We're doing Super Bowl predictions here. Way too early. Why not? Why not? And Reese, I'm going to throw it to you. Who will be this year's Super Bowl teams?
I've got Chiefs and Eagles in the Google Doc. That's so boring. That's
so boring. Come on.
It's so cringe. But look, hey, the Eagles aren't even like the top 3 odds winners, or lowest or best odds to represent the NFC. Yeah, so I feel like the Eagles are kind of a hipster pick a little bit. You know, obviously it's hard to say that as they just went, but I still. It's one of those things where I almost have an agenda that I'm pushing when I pick them. It's Colin Cowherd used to do this all the time. Like he would pick a team, he'd say, "This team's going to be so good. This team's going to be so good." Just so that when they weren't good, he could lambaste the players and the coaches and whatever it may be, just so that he could he could use it against them and say, well, everybody picked them to win and everybody picked them as a Super Bowl champion. So I'm going to do the same thing with the Eagles here and Jalen Hurts. I have a little bit of a vendetta against Hurts. So I'm picking the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl, but I think the Chiefs will beat them again.
Mid. Do you mind if I get this like a great reverb in here? Mid piss. Give me Chiefs over Packers. I think Jordan Love. Putting all my core into this piss right now. Oh yeah. All right. Because I think Jordan Love takes that next step, and because I think no one in the AFC has given me enough reason to tell me that they're going to beat the Chiefs.
Oh, for those in the chat, he brought a water bottle into the bathroom and he's pouring it into the toilet. That's all it is. It's not. He's not even in the bathroom. He's pouring it into the sink.
No, he's screwing the water bottle back on.
Yeah, he's closing the bottle. Okay. We lost it. TOS.
That was amazing.
I like his take though. Packers to the Super Bowl. That's a good one. That's a good pick. He's dressed like what are you, like the lead singer of the Smiths?
Man, I mean, Dan, save us here. Who's making?
He's dressed like a Greek.
So for Super Bowl, I have Chiefs versus Cowboys. I think the Chiefs.
Cowboys,
Yeah, so I think the Chiefs are pretty easy. I just think that like you have Patrick Mahomes, you have a great defense, and I think that it's just they're the best team easily, and in the AFC. And then on the NFC side, I have the Cowboys because I think they have the best roster in the NFC, in my opinion. And I think that, the narrative on the Cowboys is just kind of like that they, can't perform in the playoffs. But like the year that Stafford won the Super Bowl, he had never won a playoff game. So I think that these kind of takes are just kind of like they are not actually getting to the truth of what's happening with the team and what they put on the field. I mean, the Cowboys have proven for a couple seasons now that they're a fantastic team, just hasn't manifested. And I think that, if you're asking who's going to make it to the Super Bowl, I'll just pick who I think is the best team in the NFC, which I believe is the Cowboys.
Wow. You stumbled onto my trap card, Dan. I can't do a show this offseason without mentioning my favorite rookie sleeper, Ryan Flournoy. Ryan Flournoy, the Cowboys drafted in the 6th round this year, and I love him. I think he's going to be incredible. And if the Cowboys make the Super Bowl, he will be instrumental. So everyone listening here,
All right.
Ryan Flournoy, get him on your teams if you can.
Yes.
Unfortunately, three of you in this chat are in my league that I roster Ryan Flournoy in. And Jacob won't play Dynasty for some reason. He just won't do it. He's stuck in the redraft streets. But it is what it is.
It's a superior format.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. Matt,
I'm scared. He
Making
knows
the
he's gonna be
Super Bowl.
terrible at it.
Chiefs versus anybody, honestly. I said Eagles, but dude, it could be anybody.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
we'll see. I'm not saying the 49ers because of the last segment. So
Chiefs versus anybody but the 49ers.
it won't make sense if I pick the 49ers and then I backtrack. So
Well, so then I'm the only one not taking the Chiefs. I'm going deep into my bag of tricks. And the AFC representative for my Super Bowl is the Houston Texans. I think they put everything together this year. I think CJ Stroud wins MVP, as we'll talk about in a little bit. And I think this Texans team makes the Super Bowl on the AFC side. And why not keep things fun? And they play the Detroit Lions. Why not Houston Texans, Detroit Lions in New Orleans? Like, come on, that is
just
that is
so
awesome.
fun. That would be so fun.
Like, it's too fun to not happen. I think
It's so
Houston
fun.
Texans, Detroit Lions.
Did they play each other this season?
I don't know. Actually, I do not know.
That would be such
I'm-
a fun matchup, man.
I don't know, man. I like every time I see the Texans,
Me
my
too.
blood boils. Every time my TV cuts to NRG Stadium.
No Texans on Jacob's TV. I get it. Well, but you guys, as a Cardinals fan, you have to like the Texans. The
Hopkins and Watt, yeah, and thank God not Deshaun.
the
The rumors were flying.
That would have been terrible. That would have been terrible. So those are our Super Bowl predictions. I've got a few
Those
more
are
takes
fun.
from you guys. Let's bundle these together. Let's hear your offensive rookie of the year as well as the MVP for this season. Throw them both our way. We'll start with Matt. Who's MVP and the offensive rookie of the year?
Lamar, I think maybe could go back to back.
Lamar.
We'll see. I don't
Nice.
feel like people are expecting him to do good again or win again, but I feel like he could. You know, he's got Derrick Henry now, so I feel like. But I am concerned that is J.K. Dobbins, is he playing this year?
Yeah,
He
both of them.
is-
So he's healthy for week 1.
Ravens?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think he could have another shot at winning MVP. Rookie of the year, I think, is Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it's really him against Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's a great player. So he didn't show up in the combines, but you know, we all know who he is. So I'm excited to see him play, but I think he takes it home.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that with all the hype towards Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, I'm also saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. wins Rookie of the Year. Jacob, as a Cardinals fan, do you think he could do it? And then who's your MVP?
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. can absolutely do it. My concern is that for the last few years, Kyler's deep throw ball has tanked.
Mhm.
He used to be one of the best like long ball throwers in the league, and for some reason, it's just not there anymore. But yeah, he can absolutely do it. My pick is Caleb Williams, though. I mean, like, he's just too talented. He has way too much upside. Just natural arm talent. If Caleb Williams busts, I would be shocked. But there's just no. He's given me. It's the same with picking the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. He's given me no reason not to pick him.
Yeah.
What was the other MVP?
Yeah.
It's Mahomes. Like again, I know it's corny. He's given me no reason not to pick him. I mean, it's going to be a quarterback. It's a quarterback only position. If CMC doesn't win it last year, it's never going to not be a quarterback. And in that case, you just got to pick the best quarterback in the league. Second would be Josh Allen because, he has a weak receiving core, but Mahomes, Caleb Williams.
Hey, chalk picks, but I totally get it. Reese, what are you thinking for these awards?
So I've got Jaden Daniels winning Rookie of the Year. I'm pretty convicted about Jaden Daniels. I was disappointed that they let go of Dotson, but I don't think he would have been that much of a factor for them anyways. They've got a pretty good receiving core. They got Zach Ertz, which is like a safety blanket tight end. It's just the perfect tight end to have as a rookie quarterback. They've got a decent offensive line. I just like a lot of things that are going on in Washington. That's like another one of those teams that I just have always pulled for because one of my good friends is a big Commanders fan. So I've got that too, but I really do think that Jaden Daniels is going to really have a great season. I think everything set up around him is perfect. And then for MVP, I would love to see Lamar do it again, but I think Mahomes is going to do it. And the only way Mahomes doesn't win MVP and the Chiefs don't go to the Super Bowl is if he gets injured at some point, which, it is very possible. He's been pretty lucky throughout his career so far to not have any injuries. And I don't want to speak that into existence or anything.
Yeah, I think Reese, if Patrick Mahomes gets injured now, it is all on you. But
knock on wood. But I think it's like Jacob said. You just got to pick the best quarterback or the most offensively producing. I don't know how you would word that, but the highest
productive.
The most productive quarterback. Sorry. And I mean, he's just ridiculous. It's not even like he wins games in in a comfortable fashion. It's like he carries the team on his back. So
he does. Dan.
So for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I also have Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that he edges out Caleb Williams, who I also think is going to be like a really good player. I think he edges him out because I think Marvin Harrison is just like he's going to have the highlight reel catches. Like when it goes to, like when they show like the clips of each nominee, they're going to show like the best throws of Caleb Williams, the best catches of Marvin Harrison, and Marvin Harrison is like he's special, dude. Like he is absolutely just a freak of nature. Just put the ball in his area, he's gonna come down with it. I'm super high on Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think that's who's going to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. For MVP, I'm going to pick Joe Burrow. He is one of the few elite quarterbacks who hasn't won MVP yet. I think Josh Allen hasn't either, but he hasn't won MVP yet. He's coming into the season with his first full training camp of his career, so I think he's primed to start hot. And when Joe Burrow gets going, like the Bengals are almost like unbeatable, and their defense might have gotten a little bit worse, which even means that Joe Burrow is going to have to carry even harder. So I think that Joe Burrow is primed to have an MVP caliber season.
I like that. Hey, he could get comeback player and MVP. What a season that would be.
Any neighbors picks? Offensive
No. I feel Marvin Harrison Jr. too. I'm feeling a great season from the Cardinals.
I hope so. What if AJ Brown ran a 4.4?
Essentially, that's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
that's Marvin Harrison. I know.
I pray this is a Harrison and Neighbors are a Green Julio situation.
That would be huge.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would be huge. I want Rome Odunze to do well too while we're on the rookie wide receiver subject.
Who was the third receiver taken in that 2011 draft?
That's a good question.
It wasn't Blackman, was it? No.
I hope not. That's all I'll say. I hope not. AJ Green, Julio Jones. Who?
Who?
Oh God, I've actually never heard this name. First round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, Doug Baldwin.
Oh, you know what? That might be right. It's Jonathan Baldwin.
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 The guy was a bust.
No, he did not go by Doug. This is a different Baldwin. Yeah, this is Jonathan Baldwin.
Yeah.
Third round's different.
But to that point, right? Both AJ Green, Julio Jones, top 6 picks. Jonathan Baldwin didn't go until pick 26, right? Whereas Rome Odunze was top 10. So this could be totally different. We'll say,
It's
oh,
tough.
man. This was a rough. Listen to this draft class: Cam Newton, Von Miller, Marcel Darius,
Patrick
AJ
Peterson.
Green, Patrick Peterson, Julio Jones, Alden Smith,
JJ Watt. JJ Watt's in there too.
11. Yeah, damn, look at you. You're an NFL draft savant over here.
That really might be the best draft of all time.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a solid draft here. Mark Ingram at the end. Andy Dalton in the second round. Solid draft here. Solid draft in 2011. I already said I'm Marvin Harrison Jr. my MVP. I also kind of hinted CJ Stroud. This is the Texans year. I know it's out of nowhere, but Houston Texans, good season from them. They bring in Stephon Diggs. I can't think of a single reason outside of injuries where CJ Stroud wouldn't throw for at least 5,000 yards this year with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. It's just incredible. And Joe Mixon and Dalton Schultz. Tons of weapons. I like this Texans team. Give me Stroud for MVP. So, guys, before we sign off, I want to get your hottest take for the season. Dig deep, feel the fire, just go crazy. You don't even have to truly believe it, but the camera has to feel that you believe it. What's your hottest take for the season, Jacob?
Christ. Eagles don't make the playoffs.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So you saw at the end of the last year, they're not coming off of. I said earlier they were a bottom 10 team in the league at the end of last year. I think both of the coordinators carried a lot on that Super Bowl run. With both of them gone, you saw them hurt down the stretch. Kelsey's gone.
Yeah.
I'm sure Hurts is great. I'm sure Brown is great. But, I just what I saw at the end of the last season does not scream playoff worthy team to me.
Even with the addition of Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, I don't like. He's prone to getting injured. He's a million in running back years. Yeah.
Wow. I like that one. That's a fun one. That's a fun one.
That's
a funny juxtaposition to people saying to like those of us who said Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like people who would say Bengals in the Super Bowl last year. I mean, it's so hard to get back. It is so hard to get back, and we get spoiled sometimes by looking at the Patriots dynasties and the Chiefs dynasties. But it's so hard to get back to get to the Super Bowl.
Dude, it's hard to get back to the playoffs, man. I mean, it's like usually I think there's like 3 or 4 teams on average that make it back every year.
And that I feel the same about the Lions in the NFC Championship. It's so hard to get back.
Yeah.
Lions make it back. Don't put that.
America
I
needs
hope.
it.
Oh.
We all want the Lions back. No one wants the Lions to lose, ever. We're all Lions fans here. I like that take. Dan, can you follow up Eagles missing the playoffs? What's your hot take?
So this is actually funny because according to the sheet that we have, this is an opposite take that someone else is going to say. But this is the year that the Steelers go under 500 under Mike Tomlin. You take a look at what the Steelers have done this offseason. They brought in Russell Wilson, who's getting paid a combined $80 million from 2 different teams not to play for them. You watch his tape last season, he's absolutely ass. Justin Fields can't read a defense. They slightly upgraded their offensive line, and I'm pretty sure one of their rookies is even injured that was supposed to start right now. Then you look at their defense, which is probably the only good part of their team. But they didn't really upgrade. They got who was it? From the Ravens, a linebacker that's really good. Patrick Queen. They got Patrick Queen.
Yes.
Who is really good. So their defense will be good, but it's really just a question of, okay, so we upgraded from the worst starting quarterback in the league to one of the 5 worst starting quarterbacks in the league. And then, Najee has been, not great. The line in general has not been good. And really, when your wide receiver 2 is Van Jefferson, what are you supposed to do? They got rid of Deontay, who was a solid wide receiver 2, maybe even a low end wide receiver 1. And it's if Pickens is just going to get double teamed, and you're going to have to rely on Van Jefferson, who's been complete doo-doo. and you got someone who can't even like really throw anymore. So I think this is the year it catches up with the Steelers. The defense, if they get a lot of turnovers, maybe they can make it. But it's not looking good for the Steelers.
Don't they have like one of the best records of not picking top 10 in like, not having top 5 or not having the first pick in maybe 50 something years?
Well, and that's kind of their issue is like they don't get like top, like they're always like just good enough to get embarrassed in the first round of the playoffs and
purgatory.
So like they're not getting good picks. Like they've been like why when you have Kenny Pickett as your quarterback, your goal should be to get Tank and get a nice draft pick. But that's obviously not Tomlin's philosophy. So give me the Steelers to finish with 7 or 8 wins.
I think that's fair. I really do. It's a fun.
Yeah, it's definitely fair.
But Reese, I'm looking here. You think the opposite. So let's hear it.
I do think the opposite, but that's stupidly because I love Mike Tomlin, and I think that it would be so funny if he were to win 9 games with this roster. I don't necessarily think that means that they would make the playoffs. That would put them at 9-8, I think, if they won 9 games. But I did put on there that I think the Steelers are going to win 9 games just because it would be so funny if they did. I think another hot take is I think that Penix will end up starting at least 1 or 2 games this season. I think Kirk's Achilles is a bigger deal than the coaching staff is making it seem. They admitted today that he only started playing with pads on and not getting pulled out of like plays at like they didn't put him on a limit like starting today. So he'll have had 1 week of like real football going into the first week of the season, which is tough. And he's an older guy. Obviously, his body is tired. And then the last hot take I have, I know I'm only supposed to give one, but I feel very convicted that Dennis Allen is going to be fired within like the first 6 weeks of the season. I think you could see the Saints go like 0-4, 0-5, something crazy like that. And the problem with Dennis Allen is, like, he may be a smart guy. He may be a good head coach. It's going to be hard for him to prove that with this roster early on. And he's not a charismatic guy at all. He just comes across as a total jerk. And I don't think that his shtick is going to get him any longer of a leash than he normally should have. So, yeah, I think Dennis Allen's not going to make it very far. It's going to be one of those seasons where, like, you get the rare mid-season firing. That's my hottest take.
I like that.
Jason, can I respond to the guy in chat who's talking about the Steelers?
Yeah, best ball on club.
Yeah, okay. So he said, because I forgot to mention Arthur Smith in my take, and so kudos to Best Ball for bringing this up. Arthur Smith, I do think he's a decent coordinator, a much better coordinator than a head coach. But it's like, dude, when you're commanding like a pile of shit for offense, I mean, we're talking about literally the worst offense in the NFL last year. Yeah. Like he just doesn't have the weapons, and it's like you also the Browns defense is a top 5 defense. The Ravens defense is a top 5 defense. You just don't have the firepower to actually score enough points to win against specifically your division. And they have a harder schedule than they did last year, where I believe they got 10 wins last year. Mm-hmm. So it's like when you're going to, I think they have a top 7 strength of schedule, the Steelers. So it's going to be a huge uphill battle. And
I agree with you, man. I honestly do. I love Justin Fields. At least I think I want him to succeed, but I think that this does kind of feel like a Steelers down year. Like, it has to happen at some point, and why not when you have 2 quarterbacks that were cast aside for some pretty reasonable reasons. Matt, what's your hot take?
This might be crazy, but I think I'll say the 49ers get stunned in the playoffs. Whatever divisional wild card. I feel like they're going to steamroll the regular season and they're going to get stunned. I feel like so many things have been going well. They've been signing so many huge contracts. They got Trent Williams restructured, Ayuk resigned. They're gonna have to pay Purdy at some point, but not yet. But I feel like too many good things have been going for them, and I feel like it catches up to them. And plus, losing in the Super Bowl and us talking about how hard it is to get back, I feel like they get stunned. So that's my hot take.
Yeah, I actually like it because I have a different hot take in the show sheet, but with all of you guys going through teams, I was kind of thinking of a team one, and I don't think the 49ers win this division. I feel like
Love that take. I love it.
I'm not. I know that
Give me the
Jacob is
Rams.
off camera right now, but why not the Cardinals? You know,
Because the defense is bad. It's a
they
bad
were
defense.
bad last
There's
year,
no-
right? They were
there's
bad
no
last
ba-
year. as well.
Yeah, and they were like the fourth worst team in the league. The defensive line is bad.
Why not the Rams? You know,
Yeah,
like there's
give me the
just-
Rams.
The Rams is a good shout, honestly.
also a bad defense, but I mean, like, I feel like it takes for the 49ers.
Rams are the best shot. Rams are the best shot.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't. I'm not feeling the Rams NFC West repeating this year. I'm not feeling that.
Best ball. What's your hot take?
Yeah, best ball. Let us know what is.
Oh,
Drum
You know
roll.
what? Here, hold on, best ball on call. Here's the StreamYard link. Join us.
NFC and NFC West. Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be. I mean, Lions Packers easily. Yeah. Lions Packers for sure. Not Vikings, not Bears, and then West is going to be Niners, Seahawks, Rams.
Well, then
It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
That's a pretty measured take.
Yeah, NFC North and NFC West, and all the while here he is. Anthony. Welcome.
What's going
in.
on, guys?
What's
What's up?
up?
Welcome
Give me a
in
second. Let me switch
to
my audio.
average football enjoyers.
What's up, man? The comments are great.
How you doing?
All right, we should be good now. I just switched my audio. I don't know if you're getting any feedback or anything there.
Oh, Panthers fan. There we go. Okay, more
yeah,
NFC
what's
South,
up? Me and
love.
Jason are Jason and I are arch rivals. He just doesn't know
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, I didn't know the Panthers fan, Anthony. I didn't.
that's awesome.
But that's okay.
Yeah, we're terrible. I kind of keep it low key.
I get it. So, Anthony, I know you put the hot take in the chat, but let us know on the voice as well. What you're feeling?
What I was saying is that I think it's not extremely hot, but I think all of the wild card teams from the NFC will come from the NFC North and the NFC West, even though they play each other. I just don't
all
see
of
like
them.
yeah, like all the wild card teams because
Yeah.
who from the NFC South and who from the NFC East, like the Cowboys maybe. Really, I don't see how.
Well, we know. Well, as I've said, we know not the Eagles, so the Cowboys. would
or,
as we know.
or not the Eagles. We'll say one or the other. Isn't
Not the-
making it.
yeah, but Buccaneers, Falcons. If Buccaneers win the division, Falcons could sneak in with a wild card.
I don't
with a
see how
relatively
anybody
easy
but the
schedule.
Falcons win that division.
Buccaneers. They give the Lions a run for their money. Again, the Eagles weren't a good team when they played in the playoffs, but they did great.
Dave
I
Canales
think
is
Baker's
in
a very
Carolina.
solid quarterback.
yeah, but you got to remember, Baker has never had two good back-to-back seasons in the NFL in his
Take it
entire
from the Browns fan. Take it from the
Well,
Browns fan.
yeah,
I had to
but
live through that saga.
And
he's got Godwin and Evans. And again, like 4 of his games are going to be against the Panthers and the Saints.
Fair enough.
that's what I'm saying. The NFC South is going to be bad. So I don't.
Yeah.
With the Falcons being as much as they look like they've upgraded, and not only did they get a quarterback, they apparently got a backup quarterback because they were not going to go about not having a quarterback again. I don't see how they don't win that division, and that's from a Panthers fan. I mean, how just straightforward is that?
Yeah. I mean, hey, as living here in Atlanta,
The Saints don't look like they've done anything but get worse.
Yeah, they're going to be a steaming pile.
Yeah.
Of crap.
yeah, I mean,
I would love to see your Panthers do well, Anthony. That would be really fun. I'm a
Well,
young Bryce Young
considering-
fan, so I'm rooting for him.
I think I'm an inch shorter than Bryce Young, so take that for what it's
So
worth.
you could be an NFL quarterback then, is what
I definitely I definitely could if
Yeah.
I was back to my my sub 5 second 40 time, which was about 20 years ago.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
at least
that's
you
so
had it
impressive.
at some point. Yeah, at least you had it at some point. I don't know if
Oh,
I
it was
ever-
I don't know why
495.
I
I mean,
had
it was 495.
499.
It's as right at 5 seconds as it could be.
That's funny.
But
Sounds good, man. That's some good stuff. Well, we've made it to the end of the show. Jacob says he has to head off in 2 minutes, so I'm going to throw it to him first. Jacob, any last words heading into the 2024 season that you want to throw out into the universe?
Honestly, if I were to script the season, week 1, Deshaun Watson steps back in the pocket, and suddenly
What?
I'm glad he didn't finish that.
Oh,
Dan's like
man.
sweating. Dan's like tapping his forehead, can't get through it.
Lee Harvey Oswald is in the stadium.
no.
Oh my god.
The guy on the 50-yard line has a sniper. Deshaun, get down.
Deshaun just takes one to the chest.
No, the offensive line saves him.
Oh man. Oh man.
Okay, I'm
fellas.
sorry. That
Anthony,
was too far.
Yeah, no,
Anthony.
I'd rather Deshaun take it than any of the offensive line.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, Dan, are you rooting for Jameis Winston? Like you want to see him?
No, I want to see Deshaun play good.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think deep down we all actually want that, but he is kind of fun to hate on.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Like, what was the Deshaun Watson? What was it, like the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs or something, where they were up early? I think it was 3 years ago or something. That was
yeah. Yeah, I think that was the
That was-
divisional. Yeah.
or the divisional. That's what it was. Yeah, like that was prime Deshaun Watson. Like,
Yeah.
can we see that
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I think they lost that game, but I think he had like 400 yards that game. And it was,
They were up like 20-0 early, weren't they, or
Mhm.
something like that?
Yeah.
And that was the game where Mahomes had the ridiculous run right before halftime up the sideline, I think.
I think
Never mind. I'm sorry. I apologize.
that might be the game. Like Patrick Mahomes kind of became Patrick.
Yeah.
No, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
That's a good poll. I forgot about that game. Playoff football is so much fun. Like, I know we're about to be at week 1, but I kind of want to press the fast forward and be at the
Yeah.
playoff.
No.
Before you know
No.
it, Jason, before you know it, you're going to be doing playoff shows.
I know,
It-
I know, and I hate the playoff shows. To be
I know.
honest, I hate it. Just like I want to go to bed or be asleep right now. But hey, I also like what I do. So Anthony, thank you for joining us, man. I'm going to throw it to you next, right? Well, before we sign off as the average football enjoyers, what's something you would like to throw out into the universe heading into this season?
Something I would like to throw out there. Honestly, with everything we saw last year, just the whole slate, can we just not have some of the brutal injuries we saw last year? Like
Ooh,
Nick
yeah.
Chubb. Seriously, how deprived were we of a season of Nick Chubb last year when the Browns were kind of set to do something special? Now, granted, we also got to see, the craziness that was Joe Flacco down the stretch.
Yes.
So that was interesting too. But I'd trade that to see Nick Chubb in his prime again.
Imagine if we got to see Nick Chubb and Joe Flacco.
But I don't think we would see Joe Flacco if we had Nick Chubb, because I don't think the Browns offense would have changed as much to a passing offense as they did.
That's
True.
fair. That's a fair point. That is a fair point. No, I'm with you. I mean, if we could just have less injuries, at least to the star,
Right.
player.
Like just like I've got dynasty teams where I've got like TJ Hawkinson stuff. I'm like, okay, well, what am I waiting on here? Especially in like a tight end premium league. It's like, okay, I've got to piece this together now and and then I got to deal with it again. So stuff like that. Just some of these injuries, even like Tyler Higbee, like these guys that got hurt late in the year and their injuries are getting pushed halfway through the season where you don't really know how to play it or how healthy they're going to be when they come back yet.
Yeah, for sure.
And last year was crazy for the quarterbacks. I don't think I've ever seen so many quarterbacks, just like the depth we were playing with like Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
No, the record was set last year for most starting
Yeah.
quarterbacks. It was like 66 quarterbacks started
Was
last
Was
year.
it that much?
66.
It was a
Oh,
lot.
wow.
66 different quarterbacks started last year. It's insane.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Just let's try and avoid some of the crazy injuries. I know they're going to happen.
Madden commissioner out there, whoever's running the NFL, Roger Goodell, just turn off injuries this season.
Yeah, turn the slider down.
Or at least turn the slider down to like 15%.
Yeah.
Turn the sliders down. Maybe put the injuries only on defense.
Right.
Just get those away. Matt, what are you thinking? What do you want to throw out into the universe before we sign off from the average football enjoyers?
I don't know. I think I'll piggyback. I don't want any injuries. You know, I know we've already had some early in the season, but yeah, I just want everyone to play. I don't want any gruesome, like the Nick Chubb thing was terrible. So I don't want to.
And what was it? Week 1 or 2?
It was 1.
Yeah, it was early.
Yeah,
it was rough. I mean, especially when he had the same thing happen to him when he played Tennessee, Georgia. So yeah, I don't want to see any injuries. Everyone to be safe and have a good season.
Yeah. So we've got wholesome takes from Anthony and Matt. Reese.
Oh man, you predicted me on that one. I was gonna say I've been pretty tame this entire show with my language, but I have to sign off in egregious fashion here, and I think it's something we can all agree on, especially given the fact that Anthony is a Panthers fan. So my final thoughts on this season are fuck the Saints.
I can get behind that one.
Thank you.
Absolutely fuck the Saints. Dan, to the universe, what you got?
The only thing that I want to put into the universe is NFL. Why are you getting rid of you now have to announce your onside kicks? What is this rule? What like you shouldn't have to announce your onside kicks like the famous, Pat McAfee, kicking off and recovering his own onside kick.
Super Bowl. The Saints
right. Opening with the Super Bowl. I mean, to me, that's like so quintessentially football, and they got rid of it. I'm very mad. I just wanted to put that out there. NFL, please bring back unannounced onside kicks.
Yeah. I liked everything in that rule. Like, I'm fine. Like, you can only do it if you're down, right? Like, whatever. But announcing it?
Yeah.
Stupid.
I don't know about that one. But hey, we'll see what happens. Maybe they have a cute way to kick the ball now. I don't know.
Do they want less converted kicks than there already are?
Like, it's so weird. It's so weird. It's strange. I don't like that rule either, Dan. And I was thinking the same thing. I want the opposite. I guess technically, I need to see at least one kickoff return touchdown a week. If we're having all these new rules to make the kickoff return more exciting and everything, it's already my favorite play in football, so I'm glad they figured out a way to save it. But I want to see like a Devin Hester type ass return every single week. I need some good stuff coming from those kickoff returns. I'm excited to see what that looks like over the season, and really just excited for the season as a whole. That's it. I think that's it. Fellas, the average football enjoyers are back. Shout out Rob for getting injured in the pre-show. We hope to see you next episode. We haven't planned a next episode yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out later at some point. We miss each other too much.
Yeah,
I think. Anthony, thank you for hopping on. Thank you very much for hopping on.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
For having me.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you, man. Thank you for
I'll
being.
come on
We'll call you
anytime
the
to
inaugural
talk to
average football enjoyer fan, the original, the OG. So welcome.
I'll take the label.
And honorary and potentially honorary member after tonight.
Yeah,
That was,
honorary member. I'll throw
that
the
was
title.
clutch. Yeah, that
He's
was
an
clutch.
honorary football enjoyer right there.
Next time I come on, I'll put the title on.
Love it.
All right, fellas. Well, it's been real. Everyone, if you've watched this episode, follow Average Football Enjoyers on Instagram. You can find us there as well as Twitter, AVGFB Enjoyers on Twitter. The full thing on Instagram, Average Football Enjoyers. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and let us know what you thought of our video, our takes, all that fun stuff. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the football season. Thanks for watching and have a good one. Peace.